My name is Henrietta Nonye Odey. I am a Nigerian from Anambra State. I am passionate about creating a world for the most vulnerable, and I do that through enlightenment programs. I am a body safety expert, child protection advocate, and anti-GBV campaigner. So what I do is I go around communities inspiring women and children. I teach them they have rights, they can fight for themselves, they do not have to remain in a harmful situation. There are organizations, there are people willing to help them, and I tell them things they can do to help themselves. So in other words, I inspire them and I teach them how to protect themselves. For children, I equip them with skills, with knowledge and skills to prevent sexual abuse. I am actually a sexual abuse survivor, so this is very dear to my heart. I love children and I want them safe. I want them happy. So this is what I've been doing for years. This is my campaign. This is what I'm all about.
All right, thank you so much for that, dear Noyem. Um, do you want to tell me more about your background growing up in Anambra State? The reason is that this podcast is connected to both the African at home and also the African in diaspora. And for us, we like to talk more about ourselves so we can better connect to our roots and also to the people we are talking with. So, in the first part of the podcast, we usually talk about ourselves. Where are you coming from? So that you help us to know
So,
you better. Can you do a little like when you were growing up? What are the things around you? What do you remember of your childhood? Please help me with that.
so my dad is actually from my dad and my mom, they're both from Anambra State. But I was not raised in Anambra State. I was raised in Kaduna State. Yes. So most of my life I lived in Kaduna State. I am even living in Kaduna State right now. My childhood was beautiful, it was really beautiful. The north part of Nigeria, they have a very calm lifestyle. So I grew up. I'm the last born. We are six. We're a family of six, and I'm the last one, the last girl. And growing up in the north was, should I say, fun. It was not. It was fun. It was cool. The struggles of the east, or most times we who were brought up in the north, we have a different lifestyle as compared to our friends or families brought up in the east. We are calmer, we are reserved. So that is how I grew up, and I schooled in the University of Maiduguri. Maiduguri, as at then, was peaceful. It was peaceful. Full stops were cheap. It was okay before the whole Boko Haram and banditry started. Maiduguri was a peaceful and very calm town. So that's about it about my childhood.
Thank you so much for that. So, have you had the occasion of also maybe going to Anambra State from time to time to sort of connect to the people that are there, or maybe you accompany your parents there to sort of see what is available there and to know some persons there?
Yes, but when I was young, there's something we call returns here. Every 3 years, we go back home. We see our cousins, our family members abroad also come back, so we interact. We have fun. It was we go for festivities like the Ofala. There were different festivities as at the time. It always happened during Christmas period. So I remember having fun with my cousins, home and abroad, enjoying those celebrations. Having it was always a fun time going back home. The food, the atmosphere, the people, the language. It was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it then. I still enjoy it now when I have time to go back. It's Anambra. My village is actually Obinato village. My town is Ame. We have very lovely people. It's very lovely place. So when to go back home, I have fun. And one thing I like about my place is the food. We have different kinds of foods, and most foods you won't really see them here. You won't really get them abundantly here. I enjoy that a lot. Yeah.
All right.
For the food, I don't know if you've heard of okwa.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've heard of
Okwa,
that. I've heard.
it's it's a breadfruit. They call it breadfruit. So that's one of my favorites. It's it's delicious. It's ah, it's the best. So I that's one of the meals I know I enjoy very well when anytime I go back to the village.
All right. Now, how did you get started with body safety? Of course, that is what we are going to spend most of our time with today, because I understand that you are into advocacy. You try to sensitize women against sexual abuse. And you said that even yourself, you have been a victim of sexual abuse. Would you like to say anything about that? Of course, it depends on you if it's something you like to share, or if there is any part of it you like to share. Help us understand that. That help, of course, to know you a little better.
Okay, so as a child, there were things I didn't know, and there were things my parents didn't know, so they didn't teach me. So it's actually not their fault. And when I was about 8 or 9, I went for a wedding, and I sat on a family. I was on my own, and a family friend called me, and he asked me to sit on his thighs. I sat on his thighs, and the next thing he started touching my breast. They were actually undeveloped at that time, but he was touching it and pressing me in different kinds of. That was actually in public. As at the time, I didn't know what was happening, and I was very uncomfortable, but I couldn't say stop. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't shout. I couldn't do anything, but I was helpless. I was helpless, and I couldn't call for help, even if there were people around. Thinking back, I'm asking myself, those people around during the wedding, is it that they didn't see the discomfort in my face? Is it that they didn't see the fear in my face? And after what happened, I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell them anything, but it stuck with me. It stuck with me because I kept on telling myself that shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened. And I was angry with myself that I couldn't speak out. I was angry I wasn't confident enough to shout or to alert people that I was being molested. I just sat down on his side and let him continue doing what he was doing. So anytime I thought about it growing up, I always felt bad. I wanted that to change. So as an adult, most of the places I worked are health facilities. So I was opportune to go for a GBV training one time. And when I went for the training, it was like my eyes were open. They taught me things I I never knew, and that was how my advocacy began. It was like after the training, the scales fell off my eyes. I knew the exact thing I needed to do. And that was gender-based violence awareness. So that was how I started. I started with the health facility I was working then. Our clients were mostly HIV positive. So I started with the women, with the men. Then we also had a department that was involved with domestic violence and sexual abuse. So I started there. I started talking to the children, the women. From there, I started going to communities. I started going to school. Gradually, I started being invited on TV and on radio to talk about different forms of GBV. And that was how I started writing online. So that was how my journey started. Right now, I have a campaign on change.org. It's actually a campaign, is a petition to Kaduna State government to implement body safety education in all primary schools. I believe when a child is taught body safety, the child can speak up for him or herself. The child can report. The child can defend herself or himself against pedophiles or sexual predators. So my dream is for every child to live in a safe world. My dream is for every child to be able to speak up when they are in situations of harm without fear and without fear. So this is my passion and this is my why. This is why I started all of this.